The problem is not Israel or Netanyahu. The problem is basically the West dominating and the West forcing the Muslims to be okay with the genocide. So there's no such thing as God is okay with it. God allows it, but he's not okay with it.
You've heard the claims of the Shiuch of it's our fault that the Ummah is in shambles.
Yeah.
It's our sins that's creating this in the
Yeah.
Ummah. What do you think of those claims?
How are the kuffar winning? They have done their collective duty, and that's why they're winning. We have neglected our collective duty. That's why we're losing. This whole what we do our best and do what we can. Again, this is another facade for our guilt. Everybody tells you do what you can. What do you mean do what you can? Unorganized, basically, bunch of human beings can never do anything. This is the poison that we've been injected in every single day, and any person of high status, of influence in the Ummah, sheikh or not, who keeps basically spreading this poison, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wallahi al-azim, will hold him accountable in the dunya and in the akhirah. That's why we're on our knees. That's why this generation was forced to watch a genocide through a 4K live stream on YouTube and other social media outlets.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Islamically Correct, where we're not trying to be politically correct, but we're definitely trying to be Islamically correct. This show will be all about how we turn doubts into clarity, confusion into conviction, and how we're going to be tackling controversial issues head on. No more sugarcoating it, just giving it to you straight up. We're going to be diving into topics such as feminism, red pill, socialism, social Marxism. Is there any intersectionality with Islam? And we're also going to be discussing topics like polygyny and capital punishment. How do we make sense of these claims? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
How you doing, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah.
Perfect. So this episode is going to be all about Gaza. There are two things that came about in this last 2 years, or at least at this point. One of the frustrations is that something needs to be done. Unfortunately, Islam is not in that conversation because where was Islam in the last couple of years? And the second thing is a lot of people are just feeling shame at this point. They're asking Allah to forgive them for not being able to move. You know, we're seeing the non-Muslims take the role of the Muslims. They're going out on flotillas and actually having an impact. The Muslimin that are suffering, you know, we're seeing strong iman. Or we've seen a lot of strong iman, and at times it strengthens us. But the people that are sitting and watching, our iman is wavering. And so is this what it's supposed to be like? Is it a test for us, really, or is it a test for them?
Oh, definitely, 100%. Well, see, it's a test for everybody, right? Because everybody who has duty, he's tested. Are you going to commit to that duty or not? And the people who are getting killed, you know, are they being patient? Losing loved ones, getting injured. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of them, right?
I mean,
the ones who are committing the genocide, are they going to obey the orders? Right? They're being tested with that. Us Muslims who basically see, and the rest of humanity who see this genocide, are we doing what we must do to stop it? And what we must do is dictated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is actions that will be taken by the Ummah on a collective level to stop the genocide. Anything less than that, you're liable on the Day of Judgment. You're liable for not trying to mobilize the powers of the Ummah as a collective to stop the genocide. If the Ummah moved all together, we have 57 Muslim majority countries, right?
yeah.
If all of them moved together to basically politically, diplomatically, economically, whatever means possible to stop the genocide, could they? Yes.
Sheikh, this is the problem. The problem is this feels like it's all theory, it's all talk. Like what have we done in the last 2 years?
Well, see, what's broken in 100 years cannot be fixed in 2 years, right? The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was sent, did he fix the problems of the Ummah in 2 years? No, it took him 20 years basically.
Yeah, but the Prophet 'ﷺ came, fixed it already, and we have you know,
we
Islam
broke
present.
it. Yeah, our ancestors broke it.
When?
Like we were colonialized in the 1700s and the 1800s, and also in the 1900s, where basically the colonization was fully completed. We're fully colonialized nation from Indonesia that was colonialized by the Dutch to Pakistan, India and Bangladesh that was colonialized by the British to Iran and Mesopotamia and the Levant and the rest of the Arabian Peninsula that was colonialized by the British and the French And Egypt was colonized also first by the French and then by the British, and the rest of Africa. Some portions are by Italians, some by the Spanish, some by the French, some by the. We are a colonialized nation.
Yeah, you see, a lot of people can relate to this. Obviously, every nation has their story. Like for me, Lebanese, Syrian, we have the stories of Bab al-Hara. I don't know if you know that show, but so that does resonate with us. But the problem is, Sheikh, this sounds like it sounds like us blaming it on someone else. You've heard the claims of the shuyukh of, it's our fault that the ummah is in shambles.
Yeah,
it's our sins that's creating this in the ummah, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of those claims?
No, this is a totally false claim.
That makes sense.
It's our if when we speak about our personal sins, personal sins don't impact the ummah as a collective. Okay, our sins towards our collective duty is what impacts our collective destiny. Our personal sins never impact that.
But when you see people lost and caught up in their own desires and doing whatever they want to do, they cannot contribute to the collective.
So I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
One of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, in one of the battles, as after the Prophet died, right, in Qadisiyah, if I'm not mistaken, drank alcohol.
Oh yeah.
In the battle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What?
And not only him, his whole tribe drank alcohol.
Muslims?
Yeah, they were Muslims, part of the Muslim army. And they won.
No way.
It was personal sins where they committed to basically be in the army. They were committed to basically obey the orders of the leader. If I'm not mistaken, was Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas. Then yes. You need to understand, you need to differentiate the personal sins from the collective sins. The reason today, we as an ummah, as a nation, we are getting smashed to pieces is because we have neglected our collective duty. The Muslim has collective duty, individual duty. Individual duty impacts the individual. Collective duty impacts the collective. Understand it this way in a simple manner. Okay?
Got it.
So when you let's say watch pornography, you will have problems in your own personal life. Right? Your health might be jeopardized. Your relationship with your spouse might be jeopardized. You see what I'm saying? So because you're doing the haram on a personal basis. But when you neglect your collective duty, the collective will be broken, will be impacted. And those mashayikh that blame the individual sin of the individuals are, wallahi al-azim, they will be in Yawm al-Qiyamah be held accountable by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they know for a fact, unless they're ignorant, they know for a fact that personal sin does not impact the collective outcome of the ummah. Some Sahaba radiallahu anhum, some Sahaba betrayed the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They committed treason as an individual. It didn't impact anything.
Didn't it cause them to lose? That was Battle of Uhud, no?
No, no, it's a different incident. But the Battle of Uhud is another example. I was going to speak about the Battle of Uhud.
Yeah.
The Battle of Uhud, basically, they committed a disobedience to the leader of the battle, which is Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, on a collective duty. Part of their collective duty is to guard the mountain, to stay on top of the mountain, and to watch over and to make sure they kept that post. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine some of these Sahaba radiallahu anhu on top of the mountain, right? If they, let's say, they did some haram as individuals, what's going to happen? You think basically the post is going to crumble?
No, they'll still be there.
Not only that, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is there a Sahabi that doesn't have personal sins?
Yeah, nobody's perfect. You're right.
Nobody's perfect. Some Sahaba committed zina, some Sahaba stole, some Sahaba lied, some Sahaba. So everybody has personal sins. You see what I'm saying? And with the personal sins, the Sahaba always won. They only lost when they basically broke a collective duty.
Got it. So here's one claim that I'm going to say, or here's one way I'm going to push back on that claim, right? Wouldn't your personal sins technically impede, like if it's affecting your life, your personal life with your family, can't that become a ripple effect and affect like the community and affect the ummah at large? Because well, like, okay, let's say you're not praying your prayers. Yeah. Then you won't have the motivation, or at least the foundation, the base to support the collective. You can't be a part of the collective effort. What do you mean?
No. Totally ridiculous and ludicrous.
So you're saying someone who doesn't pray can be a part of the jama'ah, can be a part of a collective effort?
Yes.
can be in the da'wah, can be doing da'wah tablings.
It's not about that. It's about basically, can we as a collective basically become strong and take care of our collective affairs? Can some of the sinners in the Ummah help us to basically keep our collective affairs
Afloat.
Where they belong to be? So look at the kuffar. We're not speaking about basically Muslim sinners. Okay? Forget about prayers. Prayer is very important, but I'm speaking about basically disbelief. How is the disbelievers right now, basically? Are the kuffar right now basically winning over us?
Winning.
Or losing? How are the kuffar winning? The kuffar. Who's better? A Muslim who has some sins, who misses some prayers, or misses some fast, or does some watches some haram, or a kafir? You see what I'm saying? They have done their collective duty, and that's why they're winning. We have neglected our collective duty. That's why we're losing.
See, it's hard to wrestle with this idea, because look at we're saying like technically the Muslims could be a part of a collective duty or could have impact. But the problem is we're seeing the kuffar, we're seeing Greta Thunberg and people of her likes go on this flotilla, go on this mission, literally sacrificing her life to just get there. Like the frustration nowadays is, why aren't we doing that? Why are we in this space of, all we've been hearing the last 2 years is that Gaza is just a test for us and we just have to do our best and do what we can. And that's kind of like, okay, what can we really do?
This whole, do our best and do what we can. Again, this is another, facade for our guilt, right? This is another, what do you mean basically do our best and do what we can?
Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah will not burden a soul with what it cannot handle.
Yes.
This is something we cannot handle.
But who said that?
Well, it's too much. It's a lot. Like what are we gonna do?
No, but this is totally, again, this is totally wrong. The Ummah, if it basically merges together, comes together, can it solve its problems? Yes.
Yeah, but that's like a impossible
Mission
thing.
impossible.
Mission impossible. You're expecting the whole Ummah to get together, to unite. Everywhere, our masajid are divided, Sheikh.
Exactly, because nobody's calling for that. Everybody's saying just focus on yourself, do what you can, do your best, blah blah. Look at the Europeans right now. So the Europeans right now, the Europeans, not the Muslimin, the Europeans, the white Caucasian Europeans today, after Trump have smacked them hard with the tariffs, and their economies are crumbling, and their state of affairs is crumbling. Their societies are crumbling right now. There's a strong movement. If you're on Twitter or on X, there's a strong European movement, pan-European movement, to unify Europe, to make it a one single country. Okay, to unify Europe into a very strong, they call it the greater EU. Okay, to expand the EU further in Europe and to make it a superpower.
It sounded like the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right? They're saying basically we have 600 million people, way bigger than the United States. The United States is like 350 million, if I'm not mistaken. They said we can be the biggest economy, the most powerful country in the world. So they are calling, there's a movement, a whole socio-political movement in Europe, in every country, calling for this unification of Europe. China basically, again, mobilized its 1.2 billion people together. The Russians are mobilizing their nation. Where's the Muslimin? Nobody's calling for unification. Nobody's calling for unity. Everybody tells you do what you can. What do you mean do what you can? What is it that do what we can? Since when basically people just do what they can randomly, every single person, and you're going to have a collective? There's something called organized and there's something called ad hoc, right? An organized, let's say, a colony of ants can do, lots of great stuff. An organized hive of bees can do great stuff. But unorganized, basically, bunch of human beings can never do anything. For us to basically build let's say, a high-rise building, or to build a supercomputer, or to build a complicated vehicle, it's a huge engineering project. It takes tens of thousands of people. To manufacture a whole car, you need tens and hundreds of thousands of people across the world through different supply chains to get this component together called a vehicle. You see what I'm saying? So once we have forgotten that we need to cooperate together as a whole ummah to do great things in the world, we will never do that.
But Sheikh, you see, okay, I see what you're saying. This is
But
a great vision.
nobody is calling for such coordination and organization in the ummah. We hear everybody say, just focus on yourself, do what you can do. Like, it keeps every single person within their own small realm of contribution. And the contributions are not in sync with each other to form something holistic. Okay, these contributions, they stay individual, small little contributions that don't, it's like basically having an atom, or they will never become a big compound. Look at the complex DNA. It's lots of stuff, lots of molecules coming together, lots of proteins coming together. Imagine basically you're just an atom, and you're just dancing on your own. But this just doesn't. The atom will never basically make something great. Look at the human body. How many atoms is that? How many molecules is that? How many cells is that? It's the coordination of trillions of cells together, or billions of cells together. And every cell is basically coordination of multiples of proteins and this and that. So the coordination of millions of small pieces can create something very great, just like the body is great compared to a single cell or a single strand of DNA or even a single molecule. The name of the game is coordination and organization. But nobody wants to focus on that. Just focus on yourself. This is the myth. This is the myth, and this is the poison that we've been injected in every single day. And any person of high status, of influence in the ummah, sheikh or not, who injects, who keeps basically spreading this poison, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wallahi al-azim, will hold him accountable in the dunya and in the akhirah. That's why we're on our knees. That's why this generation was forced to watch a genocide of their own people, of their own brothers and sisters through a 4K live stream on YouTube and other social media outlets.
Sad wallah. This is an amazing vision, Sheikh. You want to organize, you're talking about organization to have an impact. But when we think of the shuyukh or ulama or anyone for that matter, speaking, let alone organizing, just speaking, in the East, they're getting shut down. They're getting tortured. They're getting imprisoned. They're getting murdered. And I can think of Sumayya radiallahu anha. And then now in the West, when people try to speak, they're getting also censored. They're getting shut down. And they're losing their jobs. If you can't if you can't work and you can't provide for your family, what kind of impact can you do in the world? People are scared to lose their jobs. So now how, when we're paralyzed on both sides, how do you expect people to organize?
Look, at the end of the day, the Muslims in the Muslim world, in the East, what you call the East, first of all, there's many countries where people can actually speak and can, rally and can propose solutions. And I think they need to do it in cooperation with the leadership of these countries. I think basically the Islamic movement for the longest time took the leaders of the Muslim world as enemies. And I don't think should be the case. I think there has to be communication lines between the current elites in the Muslim countries and the mashayikh. I think last century, to be honest, we had a very, nobody had experience. And may Allah bless everybody who worked for the da'wah and so forth. But definitely all these mashayikh in the Muslim world for the last century, and we love them, and may Allah bless them and so forth. But I think again the political activism was weak, and understanding how to go about it is weak.
Why?
Because first experience, right? Like anybody who does things for the first time, like it's like looking at science in the Middle Ages. All right, people are still kind of experimenting with what a microscope is and so forth. But until science matured to any field of human development, basically.
So what was new here specifically? You're saying the colonization, or you're talking about the dismantling?
So post the post-colonial, what is called post-colonial, and we're still colonialized.
Yeah.
At least post, let's say before the neo-colonialism.
Got it.
After the real military colonialism have ended.
The splitting up of our countries, the nationalism and everything. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, basically, I think we need to start having a different conversation. I think to have a stable country, What is the objective of the Islamic movement? Is to make all these countries more prosperous, more powerful, more secure. And we don't mind basically the leadership if the leadership is taking care of the people. You understand? There's always good and there's always better. Like we as Muslims want to live by Islam. But at the end of the day, until we get there, we should always push even an inch to anything that makes things better.
Right.
And that's number one. Number two, we should make sure that the leadership of these Muslim countries understand that any type of political activism or social activism or Islamic activism is not gonna risk their let's say status. I believe there has to be a combination between the people who are ruling these countries. And I'm not speaking about the leaders, the top one person. I think basically leadership in these countries is multiple people across many different sectors of government and society.
So you're trying to bridge the gap between the two, between the people and the leaders, the elites.
Yeah, because see, everybody, like the leaders are scared from any person who criticizes or who pushes any type of agenda for reform, right?
Because they think of revolution, they think of being thrown out and replaced.
Exactly. I think there has to be better, like a discourse and a conversation is better. And I remember basically Sa'ad bin Mus'ab bin Umair in Medina and how he conducted his da'wah. And Mus'ab bin Umair basically assured the leaders in Medina, even though they were not Muslim, that look, if you don't want me to speak, I won't. But I want to have a conversation. We're only asking for a conversation. We're not trying to risk your political authority. But we want to open a channel of communication. You see what I'm saying? Now, if that leader basically goes and quashes such a person who makes this in the open, the people are going to look at him basically in a bad way.
Yeah, they're going to be anti that person or whatever.
Yeah. So, and then what's going to happen basically is that the political elite themselves basically will split. Not everybody's going to be comfortable with repressing their own people. And that's why last century, many Islamic movements tried to make change by force. Because the sad reality is that the society as a whole, not the Ummah, the society as a whole with all its components and pillars was not ready for change. Okay. And people wanted to rush change. So they wanted to force change. So it backfired. This is my little analysis of what happened in the last 100 years. Today, we need to be very sincere about that. We don't want to force change. Let change come when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants it. We believe if we do the right thing, it's going to come in our lifetime. 100%. I have zero doubt that it'll come in our lifetime. But it has to be done according to the Sunnah. And the Sunnah is to have a discourse between the public with its representatives of the real ulama that are courageous and fear nothing but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't care if they get slaughtered. They don't care if they get hung or imprisoned. But their goal with this courage is that look, we want the country to be stronger. And we don't mind the same political elite to continue to be ruling over a stronger country, a better country, a more just country. You see what I'm saying? This is a type of discourse, and we want to just have a discourse. If the political leadership does not want change, well, we'll back off. And we will. But the question is how do we help? Can we help basically, let's say, educating the masses? Can we help in let's say, spreading political awareness? So we need this country to be better. And we need to hold the leadership accountable. It's not like as if we're going to just go home and say, okay, we're going to unpack our bags and khalas. No. We need to do what's better, what's right. And that means basically there has to be open communication. The minute basically both sides can start speaking, I believe the Muslim world is going to be a better place. You see what I'm saying?
So, Sheikh, 2 years in, though, this doesn't sit well with me. 2 years in, you're talking about we shouldn't rush, we shouldn't be urgent. There's a sense of urgency right now. Imagine it's 2 years in.
Yeah, but see, the thing is basically right now, the Muslimin don't have the capacity of being able to change anything. So I'm trying to tell you the medicine is going to take time.
Well, look at the flotilla. They're doing it. They're moving.
No, but that's not going to change anything.
What do you mean, Sheikh? It's needed.
No, I'm not saying people shouldn't do it. I think people should keep putting any pressure. Sending the flotillas, protesting, social media. That's all needed. But is it going to change the situation? Well, maybe it's going to impact it. But is it going to stop? Well, Maybe not.
So you're saying we should be forward thinking. We should have a long-term vision instead of just a short-term.
We need to solve the root cause problem, which is the disunity of the Ummah.
Okay.
And we need to get the political elites in the Muslim world on board with this project.
What does this have to do with Islam? Like, you want to you want to unify the Ummah, but what does that have to do with, like, how's that going to help?
Well, because unification is what causes the Ummah to have power. And with power, you get respect on the international stage.
Our countries have power, Sheikh. They're not moving. They haven't moved.
Yeah, but how do you make a move? You need basically these leaders to now adopt their Islamic duties. You see what I'm saying? Each country, the reason each country doesn't move. Let's take Turkey for example.
Yeah.
It has a good leadership.
Mm.
It has what I believe has some sincere leadership. Right? Like, Erdogan, for example, is a person who cares, who wants to make Turkey better, and he cares about the Palestinians.
Yeah.
He sincerely believes he cannot do much about it. Like, Turkey is one of the strongest countries in the Muslim world.
Crazy. Like, see, if he doesn't even feel like he can do much, but he does have the ability to, why wouldn't we be weak as a unified body as well?
No, because when the minute you unify, you're going to become a very big player in the international arena.
Like a superpower?
Yeah, definitely. Because the problem is not Israel or Netanyahu. The problem is basically the West dominating and the West forcing the Muslims to be okay with the genocide. How is, like, for example, let's say basically the Muslim countries unify. And then Trump says, well, no, you guys you should not move. We say, well, okay, we're going to cut our own trade. We will put some tariffs on America.
Yeah. Like basically sanctions and stuff.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to understand, like, until we become a big player in the world, nobody's going to listen to us. We're going to continue to get trampled politically. So unification is the name of the game, which is why the Europeans, even though they're strong countries, like, which one is stronger, basically? Let's say Saudi Arabia or France. Let's say Egypt or Germany. I'm saying, like, even Turkey or let's say Britain. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe Britain is sucky compared to Turkey, but I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So these countries are still looking for integration, unification, because they can't stand up to the Americans.
Right, that makes sense.
How can people say enough is enough? You need power to do so, and you need to be able to basically push back on the pain that might basically be coming towards you. Look at China. It's China right now. Basically, what are they doing? The Americans are pushing pain against China with the tariffs. What did China do? They put the tariffs back.
Yeah, they're strong now.
You see, because they have a strong economy, they have a strong, like, basically leadership. So until the Ummah basically becomes powerful, they're not going to be able to have a say in the international arena. And each country gives itself an excuse to not act because they say, well, we're weak. Well, okay, let's solve this weakness. How do we solve this weakness? Integration, unification. And I'm telling you, the Europeans are calling for it. We have one deen. The Europeans are not one deen. Well, they are secular, but you understand, like, we have the same religion, we have the same deen, we have the same language, we are a homogeneous, 2 billion.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. So basically, you're, in a way, do you sympathize with them not being able to move then? Because I mean, the call is that they should have moved during this whole time.
Who's that?
The armies, the countries.
No, I don't sympathize. No.
You're saying they should have moved.
They should have moved to unify,
not moved to defend.
Well, if they're telling me they can't do it, I'll tell them that's fine. I'll take your word for it, but go and start unifying.
So do something still. Don't just sit there.
Definitely. Like, if they're saying we cannot do anything about it, I'm fine. I get it. But what are you going to do about it? Go and unify. If you're weak, unify. But if you don't want to move and you don't want to unify, then the heck with you. You're not doing your job. That's when we're going to basically criticize you.
Right. There's still this lingering frustration. How can we wait for another 50 to 100 years? You want us to work on this long-term plan. Or at least it makes sense, theoretically. But practically, like, the genocide needs to stop. The practically, you get what I'm saying? We need to...
But so look, the Rasul looked at Ammar and Yasser and Sumayya. He passed by them while being tortured. He didn't just, like, say, let me go fix it or whatever. Like, he can't. He says, Sabran ala Yasir fa inna maw'idakum al-jannah. He says, be patient, O family of Yasir, because your appointment is in heaven, in paradise with the Rasul. the right solution takes time. We're hasty. Actually, you remind me of the story with Khabbab ibn al-Arat radiallahu anhu when he was tortured. Came to the Rasul, told him, Ya Rasulullah, ألا تدعو لنا, ألا تستنصر لنا. Oh, Prophet of Allah, don't you ask Allah for support? Don't you ask Allah for victory? Don't you make dua for us? So Rasul basically, I don't want to go through the whole hadith now, but it's like he kind of almost criticized him when the person was just tortured and he was bleeding. He was put on, like, literally, like he was put on fire, really. They burned his body. He says, وَلَكِنَّكُمْ تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. You're hasty. A baby takes 9 months. A baby takes 38 weeks. You want a baby in 2 weeks. What am I going to do for you? But that's why this is the real iman, is doing the right thing. It takes 38 weeks. You got to be patient. You got to do the work.
See, here's the problem with this. SubhanAllah. You think about the Prophet. If the Prophet ﷺ was here giving us this kind of like advice, astaghfirullah, I feel like nowadays people don't want to hear that.
No, they
why?
don't.
Because but why? Because what is Islam doing? Why is Islam even being brought up in this conversation of a solution? You're saying be patient, but nowadays Islam has been made a coping mechanism for what's going on instead of something that motivates you towards action. The action is limited, right? We've seen it. We spoke about it. The action is do what you can, right? There's a gap that's not being filled. There's like, okay, hope in the best, hope in Allah. Allah will come, Allah will bring victory.
Yeah, but that doesn't work like that. We have to be strategic and work hard for that period of time to get things done. And it's not going to take 50 to 100 years. You said 50. It will not, if we do the right thing as an ummah today, and we can organize, and we can work for the real political unity of the ummah, we can get it done in 10, 15, 20 years. Okay? Max. 25, 30 years, max. It is doable. And it will happen, inshallah. You see what I'm saying?
So people will say things like, when you come to the masjid, when you start praying in the masjid, when you start, these are
personal
there
things.
Are claims that are like, okay, once you start doing these things.
Look, we want everybody to come to the masjid. We want everybody to pray. We want everybody to purify themselves. We want everybody to fix themselves on an individual level. But that's not going to solve our problem. Look, let me tell you something. The ummah became better since, let's say, the 50s and the 60s. We were not very close to the deen. And then the Islamic awakening happened in the 80s, right? The 70s and 80s, late 70s and 80s. That's when the awakening happened. So, alhamdulillah, the Muslims started putting the hijab, the men start, growing their beards, going to the masjid, becoming more Islamic and stuff like that. So, alhamdulillah, sure. But did that change our situation? Our situation continued to become worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So our individual, purification does not have a correlation to our collective outcome. And that's why we need to work on both. I'm not saying neglect the individual. See, many people will say, I see, it doesn't care about. No. We have to equally focus on both. Okay? I have individual duties, I have to take care of that. I have collective duties, I got to take care of that.
Right.
But what the others are saying, like, focus on the individual duties. There's the lots of people called just for that. And we're neglecting our collective duties, so we're getting worse and worse and worse. And the problem is basically our collective duty, when that gets neglected and our collective security gets compromised, that's going to impact our ability to focus on ourselves and to better ourselves as individuals. It's not the other way around.
Yeah, it'll make it a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it'll be a heavier weight, basically.
Oh, definitely. Without a doubt.
So you see, the thing is, I guess what makes sense now, subhanAllah, is the Rasul ﷺ, if he was here and giving us this advice, he would be working on a game plan. He would be working on a long-term strategy. And that's not what we're seeing. And I guess maybe I haven't dived into the seerah in that sense. Maybe some of us should be diving into the seerah to see it from that perspective, from that lens of like, what was his long-term vision? How was he able to be patient when people were suffering? And it's because of this. Instead of it being, leaning on dua only, it's now leaning towards, what's the long-term strategy?
Exactly. So the Rasul in Mecca, he didn't try to go convert every single individual. No. He actually converted few individuals that were attracted to the da'wah. Very few. I mean, how many people basically were in Mecca? Around, let's say, 25,000 people. How many Muslims converted with Rasul? 100, 150 people.
Oh, Akbar, okay.
200 people.
Like 10%?
The less?
Mm.
Less than that?
Mm.
No, what do you mean 10%? The 1%.
Oh, 1%. You're right.
Yeah, less than 1%.
Yeah.
Right? 200 out of 25,000 is nothing. I mean, estimates basically go between 15 and 25.
Got it.
So let's say 20.
Yeah.
Because Quraysh have been able to basically organize an army of 3,000. Right? So 3,000 army, multiply that at least by 5 with kids and women and servants and so forth. Like, it's easy 20K.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the estimate is between 15 and 25, max 30. But let's say 20,000. So he had 200 max. That's 1%. So he used this 1% to organize. This is what we don't understand. He used that 1% and didn't focus on the majority. He focused on basically going and speaking to the leaders of other tribes. And then once he got some of these leaders to be convinced of the mission of the da'wah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the immigration, and then they established an Islamic society that spread the goodness. Oh, in Medina, definitely.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
Most people think we need to go and fix every single person on their own. That's never going to happen. Why? Because society impacts the individual. There's only a couple percent of individuals that cannot be corrupted by society. Okay? So you can focus on those and use those basically as an organized movement to cause change by convincing, by peaceful. It's through peaceful mechanism of conversation, discourse, and convincing the leaders of some of the Muslim countries to adopt Islam and to care about Islamic issues sincerely and to work for the unification of the Muslim world.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And this is what we need to push for. We need to start pushing for, basically discussing with the people, the stakeholders, and the people who have the keys for change, and make sure that they don't feel that there's a risk on their positions or whatever it is. But we want to work with them together to make the countries they're ruling better countries. You see what I'm saying?
Ideological revolution, basically.
Well, I mean, you don't have to say revolution. I guess it's a peaceful, intellectual, and change. And that would lead to peaceful political change. You see what I'm saying?
Sheikh, most of us see ourselves like sometimes we go for things that are more physical, more tangible. We don't see ourselves like being able to talk to these influential people and is this for the elites? Is this for us?
For the scholars and the influentials, and it's not just so. It's basically every single person should work within their domain, but part of a structured a beehive.
Yeah.
Every bee a queen bee?
Right.
Yeah. You have one queen bee, right? You have, and then you have different specializations. There's the drone bees that go and survey areas. You have the worker bees that go and get the honey. There's other bees. So every single person has a role within an organized mission.
Yeah.
You don't choose I'm just going to do this. No. There's a collective effort. There's certain tasks. Everybody fits their role. You see, so based upon their skill set.
Yeah. I can think of that like even in my world. I feel like I network a lot with entrepreneurs. So when I speak to them, especially when they're Muslim, I really like take a different angle. I have a different lens. I'm like more about supporting each other, working with each other, buying from each other, hiring, and so on. Instead of asking for a discount the moment you find out someone's Muslim, subhanallah. So, or even on the worst side is like when you're like, oh, this guy's Syrian, I don't want to work with him. Look at Syrians are like this, or Pakistanis are like that, and it ends up dividing us even more. So I guess in different areas, different levels, you can build this unity. That's great. May Allah bless you, Sheikh. Is Palestine a colonization problem? Can we just decolonize and do like a two-state solution, or give Palestinians a state? Is that enough?
Who's going to give them a state?
Well, all our voices collectively together, pushing.
It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. First of all, the Israelis have said there's no two-state solution. It's done. They want to kick out the people of Gaza, kick out the people of the West Bank, and continue pushing for the greater Israel. That's what they're screaming. Not only Netanyahu is the head of the government, he's saying that, but other basically major people in his government saying that. Major people in the society saying that. Journalists, community leaders, everybody's saying that. Israeli society is unified on that we need to cleanse Gaza from Palestinians, cleanse the West Bank from Palestinians, and expand Israel to the greater Israel, which takes over half of Egypt, half of Syria, half of Lebanon, most of Lebanon, all of Lebanon. It takes all of Jordan, parts of Iraq, part of Saudi Arabia, part of Turkey, to reach the borders of the greater Israel.
You think they'll ever get there?
It doesn't matter. This is what they're trying to do. So they're not going to agree to a two-state solution. And if they do, it's only a transitionary period, meaning basically they'll create a problem after to re-invade it and then crush it.
As we've seen already so many times.
The second thing, this is number one. The second thing, the two-state solutions always have spoke about a demilitarized state that has security forces overseen by the Israelis, that the land, sea, and air is fully controlled by the Israelis. What is that? Seriously, like since when we call something that doesn't have sovereignty a state? It's a joke. This is called a joke state. It's not a state. So definitely Muslims, I mean, look, if it saves the people of Gaza and makes them live a little bit better, we're not gonna, go against it. But we need to realize that at the end of the day, it's not an ambition of ours. We want a safety, progress, sovereignty, independence. Where the United Nations, in their Charter of Rights, protects the right of self-determination for people, but we don't have the right for self-determination, and this shows basically the hypocrisy of the Charter of Human Rights, because it only applies, it seems, to Europeans and North Americans. It doesn't apply to the global South, and nobody has the right for self-determination. You have the right to obey colonization, right? Subserviency. Even Tom Barak was saying basically in the Arabic language, there's no word for submission. They want us to submit. And they're saying it out loud in your face. Like, look, what I like about the Americans, they're pretty in your face. I like it. I really like it. I like the American attitude. I'm a big fan of that. So, if we want to have the right of self-determination, you have to earn it.
So since you're saying that the Israelis are not looking for a two-state solution, right? Now you got people in protests, Muslims, that are saying there is only one solution, Intifada revolution, right? So they want to go back to the original borders. They want to go back where Jewish people and Muslims were living in harmony together under a non-ethno state.
Sure.
And that's one state as well.
Yeah.
So which state is the better one? Because we're trying to decolonize towards that state, not an ethno state. Isn't that the solution?
Well, the Israeli government that's rejecting the two-state solution, which is giving you the breadcrumb of Palestine, it's not going to basically allow you to participate. See, the Zionist entity does not want to take in the West Bank, the Palestinians of the West Bank and the Palestinians of Gaza into, the current state right now. Why? Because demographically there'll be less, and in any elections the Palestinians will be more. Therefore, they'll lose the government. Imagine basically, like right now, there's Palestinians inside Israel, right?
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. But they are a minority. If I'm not mistaken, I think around a couple million versus, let's say, 6-7 millions of Israelis. So the Israelis are the majority. So that's why basically they always control the government. Now, in the West Bank and Gaza, you have around 6, 7, 8 million Palestinians. There's maybe also a couple million Israelis. So if you put them all together in one state, what happens? You're going to have 10 million Palestinians.
Majority Palestinians.
And maybe like 9 million Israelis. And let's say they're equal, say 50-50. The rate of birth of Palestinians is way higher than the Jewish community.
So it's an existential issue for them.
Definitely. They will never allow this. Habibi, I'm trying to tell you that they're not going to allow, they want to push the people of Gaza through ethnic cleansing. They want to ethnically cleanse Gaza, and they want to ethnically cleanse the West Bank. So those who are basically calling for a one-state solution, they're more delusional than the two-state solution.
So the question is now, should we be working with non-Muslims? Like, obviously, we're seeing them being at the front line, going flotillas, Greta Thunberg and all these people, coming to the protest, the left wing, all this stuff. Should we be working with them? There's one example that I want to ask you about. For example, this one brother is pitching this project, Protect Pal project, where he's actually calling for Islamic bravery, but to get an international military intervention to protect the Palestinians. He's like trying to make this movement of military intervention, right? And
From the Western countries.
yeah, exactly. So should we be working with non-Muslims? And is this like a good plan, right? Is this something that's actually going to lead to a solution? Or just a temporary one?
Look, to answer this question very straightforward. Like the Muslims need to rely upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost upon themselves to solve their problems. It is hallucination if we believe the colonizers themselves who helped build this Zionist state is going to help us in any way or shape. It's hallucination.
So you're not talking about the individuals here. You're talking about
No,
the
may
entity.
Allah bless any effort. Look, and I'll even support it. Like, what do you want? A signature for a petition for these countries to mobilize their armies to save the Palestinians? Sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna be stingy with my signature on a petition. Sure. Let the Spanish and the Italians send their they send their destroyers and cruisers to just protect the flotillas. And the minute the Israelis were there, they vanished.
Yeah, that's so true. They just
So
disappeared.
you know what I'm saying? Like the problem with some of the stuff, like when I guess ask these questions, it's literally on an abstract level, as if basically people need a yes or a no. No, anybody who can push for any type of solution to save the people of Gaza is welcome. The question is basically, where are you going to spend your effort? At the end of the day, our efforts are limited, right? Our resources are limited. Where are we going to expend it? The real solution lies within the Muslim world, within this ummah, as Allah have blessed. It's 2 billion people out of 8 billion. We have the richest countries in the world in terms of resources and capability. We have the youngest, most youthful, nation from a demographic perspective. And we're 2 billion people. We can create the biggest, greatest economy in the world. Well, what do you mean China? China's 1 billion people, right? We have 2 billion people.
Right, double.
You know what I'm saying? Like we have so much resources. We don't need to import resources. We have all the resources we want. You can build cars. You can build robots. You can build quantum computers. You can build AI. Build whatever you want to build. It's just you need to, put these resources together and have a mission and a vision that unifies the people together, which is Islam. Again, all these other solutions are welcome. We'll support them. But again, at the end of the day, we need to call a spade a spade. Hallucination is hallucination. Relying on the United Nations or the Western countries to save our ummah is hallucination. That's it.
So now let me ask you. I want a practical example, like a real tangible example of someone who's done it in the past where they've used Islam to solve the issues of their society.
See, the ummah have never been broken and colonialized the way we are today ever. Since Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ever. Right? I mean, the only 2 incidents I could tell you basically we were fragmented is the Muslimin at the time of the Rasul. And what he did is basically he convinced a leadership of one of the tribes to hold Islam and protect Islam and spread Islam. So that's maybe that's one, and it's a big difference, to be honest. The second one is during the Crusade in the Mongols, where we got colonialized partially, though, right? Partially. The Crusade started in 1095, and then the Mongols started around the early 1200s. As you can see, big difference.
Yeah.
But there was a movement in the Ummah, the movement that was started by Imad ad-Din Zanki, rahimahullah, and spread basically after, he started in Iraq and spread to Iraq and Syria. And then basically he died and his son took over, Nur ad-Din Zanki, rahimahullah, Nur ad-Din Mahmud. And with the father and the uncle of Salah ad-Din Ayyubi, and then Salah ad-Din basically continued pushing until he unified Syria and Egypt. That was the goal. When Egypt and Syria was unified, they've been able to basically remove or reverse colonialism. You see what I'm saying?
You see, the story of Salah ad-Din usually is framed as like, this hero that just came and saved the day.
No. It took a long time. Like Al-Quds was colonialized in 1099, and Salah ad-Din liberated it in 1187.
SubhanAllah, so that's a long time. That's like 88
years. Yeah. So like almost 100 years.
Yeah.
But there was generations that worked together to basically fix it up.
Yeah, you're saying Nur ad-Din Zangi and Imad
Imad
ad-Din
ad-Din, Nur ad-Din, Salah ad-Din.
See, we don't hear about those 2 other names.
Oh no, so Ahmed ad-Din Zanki is the biggest hero in my eyes personally. Like he's the one who started this whole movement, the Ummah. But as you can see, it's unification.
Yeah.
You had to unify the Muslims so they can have a. And then the Mongols came in and basically destroyed lots of stuff.
Mm.
And then the Mamluks came and basically pushed it. But don't forget, over what happened is great scholars like Al-Izz ibn Abd al-Salam mobilized the Mamluks, mobilized Qutuz and Bibars, who were the leaders of Egypt at that time. So the role of the scholars is to guide the leaders and to push them to do what's right. You see what I'm saying? Not to fear them.
SubhanAllah. So a peace deal was reached. Obviously, we heard. What's next? Does our struggle continue? And what about all the other parts of the Ummah?
At the end of the day, the people think the problems in Palestine started in October 7, 2023. The problems in Palestine started, in the early 1900s. Early 1900s, not 1994. You know what I'm saying? The militias and the terrorist groups, basically Zionist terrorist groups, were slaughtering people, killing people, massacring people, mutilating people, raping people in the 1920s and 30s. You see what I'm saying? And 40s, and continuous, and it never stopped. So, in Gaza, how many wars were in Gaza, basically? How many calamities? Every few years comes back.
Yeah, perpetual crisis.
We don't know, basically, when is it going to come back again? So I hope, first of all, I hope basically this peace will last.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. Number two, basically, I'm always worried that it's going to come back again because this is the usual. It's been happening for the last 100 years. So expecting otherwise is, again, another delusion.
Right. And then all the other parts of the world.
And that means we need to start focusing on a long-term solution.
Yeah.
After the war is over, we still need to do the same thing, which is focusing on unifying the Muslim world. There's one thing that we must do and continue to do. That's working to unify this Muslim Ummah by spreading the notion of unity. Just like these Europeans are spreading the notion of unity. Everybody's speaking about it.
Right.
All these young Europeans say, we need a united Europe. Well, where's the Muslim youth that are saying, we need a united Muslim world?
Yeah. 100%.
So start doing it, guys. Start spreading unity across the Ummah.
May Allah bless you, Sheikh. Really appreciate it. This episode was really beneficial. I hope everyone benefited. As usual, inshallah, we're going to be coming out with more and more episodes, different topics, different contentious issues. And we hope you enjoy them. Just please like, subscribe, and follow us. Leave us some comments, give us some advice and some tips. And we hope to see you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.